So now in the second half of our program, I'm just going to kick it off because I know that all of you have come prepared to answer the question, are we hardwired to be happy?
Hardwired to be happy.
So I'll just kick off my thoughts, and then we'll have hopefully a lively discussion on this subject, because it is so important. So happiness is a natural state of being, but we obscure it by thinking that something external has to happen in order for us to be happy. So now the question comes up, what do I need to be happy? Would you like to answer that question? What does it need for you to be happy?
Spiritually, to be happy, I don't need anything spiritual.
Materially?
Materially, yeah, and if we try to possess more and more, we think that it's going to make us happy, but in the process, there's going to be like a circle and circle. You end up actually being unhappy then.
So would you say that everything you do is towards making you happy in life?
Yeah.
Your job,
Yeah.
your relationship?
We think that. So yeah, we live in this world. We actually try to do that.
So would you agree with me to say that everything that we do is a quest for happiness? Right? So what do we have to get to make us happy?
So
would you say that I will be happy if I have money? Would you say that?
It's all independent. We make it conditional. We don't have to make it conditional.
I will be happy if I find a good partner, if I have a child.
This is never ending.
Well, let's go for another.
Beg your pardon?
Let's go for shelter. Let's go for food and security.
Please, come in. So, but as we go along with our quest for happiness, we discover that there's nothing you have to get in order to be happy. Because anything that you can get, you can unget. You can lose money, you can lose your job, you can lose your house, right? So are you going to make your material happiness contingent on getting something you may or may not get, and which you might lose once you may get it? The point that I'm trying to make, and I believe this, is happiness is something that's innately within us. Happiness is not something that you acquire or achieve. We do not have to get anything to be happy. Happiness is already a part of our being. We are hardwired to be happy. Happiness is a part of our DNA. While I'm saying all these positive things, you're thinking that I'm crazy, that some of you are wondering, why am I unhappy with one thing or the other?
It's our own creation. So whatever we are unhappy because of our own.
But do you realize that you've spent your entire life practicing to be unhappy?
I know.
Would you believe that? Or am I crazy?
We do that. We end up doing that unconsciously, but
You know why we are learning and practicing to be unhappy? Is because we have created an if-then model. What is that if-then model? We have to get something to do something, to be something. So if I get a good job, I will be happy. If I get a good and rich wife or husband, I will be happy. If I have lots of money, I will be happy. If
different part of the life, different,
yes,
desire.
so yeah. So now let's go back 10 years to your life. 10, 12, 15 years to your life. You set goals in your life. Have you achieved all those goals?
No.
You still have to achieve them?
Yeah.
So you're working towards it.
Yeah.
So which is nothing wrong with that. But then a point came in your life when you said to yourself, I have a good job, I have a good wife, I have good children, they're doing well. Life is good. There is something in your spiritual makeup. It is in your mental impressions. It is in your sanskars that tell you, I need something more. I need something more. Not materially, because you have everything. All that you aimed for 10, 15 years ago, you've already achieved. So what are you now seeking? You are seeking spiritual happiness. You've attained material happiness by following a rather flawed model of if, when, if I can do this, if I can do that. You reach a stage when you say, I wish I were the CEO of this country, of this company. But then you reach a point when you say, I wish I were a billionaire CEO of this company. I just don't want to be a CEO. Or, oh, being a CEO is so much hassle. I don't want to be a CEO. I just want to be a simple worker here, collect my salary and go home. So that model is a flawed model, if when. So as I said earlier when we were meditating, that we are all today here because we are awakened to Meher Baba's love. And as a result, some of our wanting self, I want, has dropped away, and our innate happy self has surfaced.
I think it's like the provisional ego. Baba says you have to have some ego
Yes,
to approach life with spirit and
that's right.
human, that's fine.
That's right.
But that the provisional part is just half of it, or even just a small part of it. The idea that, I'm losing it now, that Baba is what's doing it through you. So
Yes.
the awareness of Baba, the spiritual awareness, and more we realize the awareness is what is our happiness.
Yes.
But the two do go together. It's not either or. It's both and. Because one helps you to live your life and to be human and have the human joys. But the most important part is that it's provisional. That
Yes.
Baba is doing it.
So Baba's given us this wonderful two words, provisional ego. There's another word that goes with it, and that is resilience. Resilience. It's very important. Now, when I start to do the glow every issue, I have to have a provisional ego in order to complete it, in order to do it. Now, as once Erich told me when I started the glow, he says, when you start the glow, sit in front of Baba and say, Baba, I'm starting my next issue of the glow. I'm starting my spring issue of the glow. And say to yourself, that I'm doing this for the highest of the high. And therefore, I must do it extremely well. I must spare no pains to do it. And my provisional ego kicks in. Now, when you look at the latest issue of The Glow, which I've done a special issue on Australia, I went through months of correspondence with people all over the world to be able to illustrate it with pictures that have never been seen before. So each time I have to use my provisional ego. So that's important. So when Meher Baba tells us, Jai Meher Baba, he's given us the words Jai Meher Baba, it simply means that he wanted each of us to be victorious. He wanted us to be victors, not victims. When he said, don't worry, be happy, I will help you, he stirred up feelings of hope and trust. And he said, I'm always with you. What did he mean, I'm always with you? Whether we met him or we did not meet him, each one of us follow him inwardly. We follow his inner guidance. That is what is left for us to do, is to follow his inner guidance.
God within us.
Beg your pardon?
The infinite God within us.
Within us. So now the question comes up. Please come and sit. So the question comes up is, what form will this inner guidance take? Wouldn't you ask this question? What form will it take? It differs from seeker to seeker and individual to individual. Some of us feel his presence. Some of us feel his touch. Some of us have seen his form. Others feel a sense of love. Some people dream about him. And Meher Baba often said, the two or more gather in my love, I'm there with you. And today, on the birth anniversary of his beloved Mehra, beloved Baba is here with us. Just feel his presence.
Feel when you're driving a car, feel as if he is there.
Yes. Yes.
But what happens as we go on this journey? We've held on to Baba's Daman, but I have constantly heard this from people. I don't feel Baba's love. I don't feel his presence. I can't hold on to his Daman any longer. I'm struggling. I don't experience spiritual happiness.
That is the starting point. So that question.
Yeah. These thoughts of separation from the beloved are bound to come. But these are thoughts that are a domain of the mind. I'll come to you in a moment. And why is this that we do not feel it? It's because our ego is in the way. We are in the way. Our negative emotions shut him out, and we do not experience the full flowering of spiritual happiness of which each one of us are the beneficiaries. You've just stepped into the domain of awareness. Once we are aware and conscious of our limitations, of our shortcomings, fear, hatred, greed, anger, once we become conscious of them and we are able to work on them, we are home free. You know, Baba often used to say, when you come into my presence, and he didn't mean his physical presence. He's saying, when you come in my presence, leave your mind outside the door. Come with your heart in my presence. So he emphasizes the importance of love within you. The feelings of love, the feelings of compassion, the feelings of generosity. That's what he emphasizes. So he says, your mind, with all its thoughts, with all its complexities, with all its chattering, with all its expectations, leave all that behind, leave all that outside the door. When you come in to my presence, bring that. And it takes work. It takes work. It takes a lifetime of work. It takes many lifetimes of work. So now the question is that, so when we come into his presence, what do we need to do? And I'm now bringing it to a close. Dartha mentioned that we say a sincere prayer for his guidance. And I can guarantee it that he responds. And I've mentioned this earlier at our meetings, that when someone asked Erich, can I ask Meher Baba for things? Can I ask him to change the course of my life, to transform me? Can I ask him questions? So Erich would turn around and say that if you cannot ask Meher Baba, who will you ask? Who will you ask? Your father, your mother, your sister, your brother? No. You will ask Meher Baba. So this man sitting there, turns to Erich and says, but will I get an answer? And Erich says, yes, but not in your time. Not in your calculation. You will get an answer in your changed situation.
Does that mean when you are ready?
No. It means, say, for example, you have an issue in your life. You have a situation in your life and you're trying your level best. You're putting in every effort to change that situation, some way or the other. And you sincerely sit in front of Baba and say, Baba, help me with this situation. Help me transform this situation. Please. You will find suddenly, as the days go by, that the situation has changed. Baba has answered your question to your prayer. Unless your situation is something that warrants to be the way it is. So Baba will take you to the edge of the precipice, that he will never let you fall off the precipice unless there is a need for you to fall off the precipice. Beg your pardon?
Then he's the parachute.
Yes.
If
So Meher Baba we accept Meher Baba as the highest of the high. And being the highest of the high, he will always, always, always respond to your call. When you call out to him, no matter where or when. Baba said it was never easy to follow him. But he gives us the greatest reward that we can never expect. Our way out of illusion. But you know what happens in our asking? Is we ask, and we ask, and we ask. But we never say, I'm going to leave the results to you. Because what it is that we have already predetermined the outcome. Your asking is just a process. It is not the outcome. We've already predetermined the outcome. That is why we are constantly giving labels to ourselves. This is good. This is bad. We've already predetermined ourselves. And that is why Meher Baba emphasizes that always leave the results to God. Leave the results to God.
So there's always this emphasis on get me out of this situation.
Hmm.
And I've always found he always gives you the strength to get through the situation. That to me is more important.
Yes. Yes.
But as a layman, I mean, always if I'm working, if I'm doing my job, so I'm expecting my salary to raise, get a good raise, and all this. We work towards that. I mean, as a layman, so I understand what you mean. So leave the results to God. So so practically, could you explain how?
Yes. Yes. If you say, for example, you've been given a job and you do it half-heartedly, and then the job is not well done, you in your mind believe that you've put in all your effort, but you haven't really put in all your effort, and the result is not the way you wanted it. But if you left no stone unturned and you put in every effort and still it does not happen, then it's God's will. If it happens, God's will. If it doesn't happen, God's will. You can sit back and say, I've put in every ounce of effort into doing it well. I've done everything that I could, humanly possible. It didn't happen. Now it's God's will. So that's the difference between man's will and God's will. We always confuse the two. We always take our will as God's will. No.
But how are we sure that we've done it to the best? I mean, I can say for myself that I have tried my best. But who's the judge of that? How do we know?
You yourself are the judge of that, because as human beings, you are resilient. You're very resilient. You're like a rubber band. You can be stretched and it can go you can be pulled and you can be pushed and pulled. So you have that resiliency in you. So you find that, say, you've tripped over some effort that you've made, you're always looking for alternatives. Let me try this. Let me try that. Let me try this. And then you've come to a point where you've tried everything and it doesn't happen. Then it becomes God's will. See, try it and see. It works. I can say that it works.
And in the world we live in, with our limited understanding, we tend to compare. And, well, like Konda was saying, for the common man, for us, a sense of well-being is having the basic necessities: food, shelter, a good job, a good family, everybody's healthy, good health.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if any of these things are amiss, we don't have any of these items, we feel there's no sense of well-being. And
But
something we're
that is the nature of reality. Existence is the nature of reality. Your very existence. Now, we were earlier talking about, if only this happens, if only that happens, I'll be happy. If only this happens. All of us have, say you're standing in front of a cliff and you look at this beautiful panorama of this, and you see a rainbow, and you look at this rainbow and you say, wow, what a beautiful rainbow this is. Now, do you say to yourself, if only I could have moved the rainbow a little to the left, 200 feet to the left, or 100 feet to the right, it would have been the perfect rainbow. You don't say that, right? You look at the rainbow and you are happy to see it. Similarly, if we take the universe, this entire universe and our existence the way it is, then once we accept it, that this is the universe that we are in, we are happy. When we try to manipulate this to ourselves, if you see that there is a jungle that is beautiful and there is a tree which is a little crooked, and you say, if I can only chop that tree, the scene will be beautiful. You're,
Accepting the way
yeah,
they are,
yeah.
accepting.
But if you take it the way it is, then you're home free. Then you're fine. Then you're happy. So we create unhappiness by wanting. That's why when we said that we convert our wanting self to a self of spiritual, of accepting what it is, contentment. So these are the various factors that keep us happy. So I know I haven't convinced all of you that we are hardwired to be happy, but I truly believe that we are hardwired to be happy.
Acceptance is
Yeah,
key.
yeah. I remember when I was going through a very bad patch in my life as a youngster, as a teenager. Are you leaving? No. Baba just gave me a simple order. I don't want you to worry. I want you to be happy. Now, in those days, the word "don't worry, be happy" was not in common parlance. But when Baba said, I want you to be happy, he meant it. So I had to make an extra effort to be happy because my mother was constantly on my case. Baba wants you to be happy. Baba wants you to be happy. How come you're so morose? How come you're sitting so sullen?
So what you did not to be happy?
Huh?
So how you try to be happy?
Well, I tried to do positive things when everything was going against me. You know, of course, that's the backstory is I wanted to be with Baba and I was unable to be with Baba. And that it was causing me a great deal of pain and suffering. But the fact remained is that he'd given me a set of orders, and I want you to study. I want you to appear in your exams and things like that. You know, but then I was a teenager at that time. So,
It's also acceptance.
yes. Yeah. Acceptance came only because he gave me those orders. There were times when I said, I'm not going to obey Baba. And that's when he came and hit me on the head.
Sometimes actually we don't know what we want. So Baba actually will actually give what best things you need. So not what we need, but what we want.
Yeah, most of the
That's
times.
really good.
Huh?
That's exactly the answer. Like he says, you are bliss itself.
Yes.
But what is bliss? I don't even know. So we are literally in this world trying to chase something of which we have no idea of, basically. I mean, if you look at a 100-meter dash, I know I can get there, right? But what is bliss? I mean, so we are trying to obviously learn. So in this instance, I feel there is no failed model. Everything is an experience that you need.
Yes.
Somewhere or other.
It's a
To
journey.
get there.
It's a journey.
So, I mean, like I was listening to Erich today. He said, don't despise anything. Don't despise anybody. Don't despise any thought. So and take as it happens and do the best you can. And so, to me, we're just learning constantly, evaluating, failing, with a stepping stone,
Yes.
really.
Yes.
So, I mean, we're getting there. I mean, when Baba says you are bliss itself, that's the answer.
You know another word for bliss? Joy. When you see a 2-year-old baby with its antics, what is the feeling in your heart? Of sheer joy. You cannot, there's no other word for it. Right? That's what it is. That's what it is.
I mean, like the three aspects of God, knowledge, power, and bliss, right? And, well, when you reach the goal, then I guess they're all three. I mean, you enjoy them.
Yes.
So that goal is so not vivid. I mean, you look at Musk, right? They get lost, and then they say, okay, this is it, I'm done. But then
Yeah.
Baba has to come and push them.
Push them on to.
So that not knowing goal is something that makes a little things a bit not complicated. I would say complicated because you have to take life as it happens and just move on and keep adjusting your thought
Yeah.
to be happy.
So I have a question. So I know that Baba said that one is most happy or peaceful when the mind is stopped or slow. And there's a quote that says, "Mind fast is man,
Yeah,
mind
yeah.
stopped is God." So one thing that I was wondering is that as a student, when I'm studying, my mind cannot be slow. Like it has to work, but it's hard for me to keep it slow suddenly, like to change from it to working very fast, trying to study, absorb the information, understand, learn, and then suddenly stop and try to do simple things like meditate or be mindful or aware of what's going on. Or even in the workplace when there's so many things to get done, so many expectations of you as a student, you're learning, you're using your mind to be able to pick these things up and be functional. I don't know how to transition from that fast mental working state to this peaceful state. That transition is very hard for me.
Yes, it is hard, particularly because here you're focused in gathering knowledge. You're focused on things that you need to accumulate, things you need to imbibe. Then you reach a stage in your day where you sit back and you breathe in, you breathe out, and you meditate. You completely get away from what you have already accumulated. It'll come. All these thoughts will come. But that's why we call it a practice. So once you practice this, you'll find that you're more relaxed, you're more calmer, you're more energetic in order to get back into the world that you are living in, which is gathering knowledge. So if you were on one side, you were imbibing all that from your books, from your recordings, from all that, and then at the same time you were trying to be relaxed, you'll find there's a dichotomy there. What you need to do is, at the end of the day, sit back comfortably and say, you know, if you were to sit with your mind full of chatter, sit for a moment and do this 10 times. 10 times, you'll find that your mind is blank. There's nothing in your mind. Try it and you'll see it'll work. But that's not what you want to do. You don't want to still your mind. You want your mind to be active. You want your mind, but thoughts will come and go. That's where Baba says balancing the head and the heart. That's where each one of us go through. When we see terrible things happening, our heart goes out. That's where you develop the feelings of compassion, empathy. These are the various different aspects. You see, when Baba says that each one of you are God, what does he mean? He means that all of you have the attributes of God. Love, compassion, empathy, charity. All these are attributes of God. It's just that we have some of them some of them we don't have. And we get them from people who have. That's why it's good to be around people who have these feelings of love and compassion and empathy and goodness, things like that.
Sometimes I think with people too, and I feel it, when you have a lot of empathy towards people, you feel that love, and then all of a sudden you pick up on they're going energetically.
Yeah.
And you can't understand the spiritual ramifications through a logical mind.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't. Like science and spirituality, they mix to a certain degree, and then all of a sudden it's not the same.
Yeah.
So I think some people are overly sensitive, maybe. You pick that up, and that pulls you out of it too. But I had a professor one time tell me, he goes, when you're going through rough times, think of yourself as steel, and they harden steel by sticking it in the fire. They pull it out, and then they beat you with the hammer, and then they stick you in the cold water, and you go, shh, which is another extreme. Then they pull your back out, put you back in the fire, and that's what makes you harden steel.
That's right.
Many, many times over, so you don't break. I think Baba does that to all of us. Or
Yes.
we pick up on everybody going through things, and we learn from that. Sometimes it's really hard when it's your family doing it. You know, your kids or things, you just, it pulls in. And you see what they go through, and you don't want to maybe see what they're, I know Baba's in charge, but it's like sometimes difficult.
Of course it is. Of course it is difficult.
To
Of
say,
course.
all right, I'm going to let go. And you see things that are like really not where you feel like it should be going on. Something like that.
But Mark, once we have this understanding, once we have the awareness that each individual comes with their own set of sanskars, with the mental impressions, you can only have that understanding once you have that awareness. Then you know that so and so is going through this period of suffering. It'll end at some point, because the mental impressions, they say, spend me. So it's like a wheel that it's like a ball of thread that winds and unwinds. So the winding's already done. Now is the process of unwinding of sanskars. Of course, we still wind as well. We accumulate sanskars as well, by sight, by touch, by every aspect of our every breath. We accumulate sanskars, but we also unwind them. So when the process of unwinding happens, you are going through a roller coaster ride. There's the high, that is the good, then there is the bad, there is the good, there is the bad. So there is this unwinding process that goes on. That's how Meher Baba talks about the removal of sanskars. So his name becomes a talisman in your journey. Remembering his name, saying a prayer, those are talismans. Those are what often, you hear the word centering prayer. Those are the prayers that you offer to him. And those are the ones that become talisman in your life.
But it's the attachment. And even though you...
The attachments
you know
will always be
all
there.
Baba's, but it's the attachment. And that, I think, just knowing that it's his will slowly.
Yes. So today is also Mehra's birthday. Mehra J. Irani was Meher Baba's chief woman disciple, and we decided that we would celebrate her birthday. Jai Meher Baba.